Hello, I'm Stephanie and welcome to my home. Today I'm going to be showing you pigeon pose and the different variations and modifications that you can take in pigeon pose to best fit your practice. So pigeon pose is a big hip and thigh opener and stretcher. So if you do have bad hips or thighs that get really sore, this first version I'm going to show you might not be best for your practice. You can try it at your own patience and risk, but that doesn't mean you can't do pigeon. I will show you another version that should be a better fit for your practice. So we're going to get into downward facing dog because typically this is how you get into pigeon during a yoga practice. And I will show you with my left leg. Hopefully you can see that. So you bring your leg back, bend your knee, and then bring your leg forward. And then you bring your knee to meet it's the wrist of the same side it's on. So my left knee is meeting my left wrist. And then you gently lower your back leg to the ground. And I'll get to that in just a second, but I want to hopefully kibosh a common misconception about pigeon pose. Very often you'll see or even hear that you have to have a perfectly right angled bend in your front leg where your shin is parallel with the top of your mat. This is not necessarily natural for everyone's body. We're all built differently, and this is not natural for everyone. If I tried this, my leg would snap in half. So I'm going to put it back where it's comfortable. My leg bends at a comfort level of about 45 degree angle. And that is perfectly fine. That's what your body does naturally. We're not trying to do anything unnatural to our bodies here. We're working with what we've got. So if you can do that right angle, great. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing the pose better than anyone else. It just means that your leg can do that. So moving on, my leg is bent and I'm checking this back hip here, my cheek, my glutes, and my hip and my thighs here, and making sure that I'm not leaning back on it. It is up off the ground. And I want my hips squared. So I'm going to draw this hip on my right side up just a little bit, squaring my hips, making sure my hips are aligned. And to get to my back leg. So sometimes, especially if you're in a yoga studio and there's a harder floor that your mat is on, if your mat doesn't provide a ton of cushion, this could be really hard on your knee. So something you can do is you can put like a pillow under your knee, a rolled up blanket or towel. If you don't have that available because you're at a studio and not doing this at home, maybe you can bring your foot up and flex your foot here. And by flexing your foot, you're protecting your knee a little bit. If you're still experiencing some knee pain, maybe back off the pose and do the reclining pigeon that I'm going to show you in a little bit. So from here, you can stay upright if this is where you're comfortable. You may also grab a pillow and you can lower yourself down over your leg and onto the floor. Oh my goodness, this feels so good. I could stay here all day. So, and then just relaxing into this pose right here over your leg. And you don't even need a pillow. A pillow is a great option, especially if you want to stay here for a couple minutes. Or you can just go over your leg like this and just bring your head to the mat or to your hands, wherever you want to place them. It's fine. And so that's an option here. Something I hear quite often is that because we carry so much emotion actually in our hips that we don't even realize, emotions can sneak up on you. When you're stretching out this area and you're releasing tension in your hips and your thighs, and you're and pause, just enjoying this moment of stillness in this pose. Sometimes some things that you weren't expecting can creep up on you, and this actually can be a very emotionally inducing pose at times. I personally haven't experienced an emotional moment in this pose, but maybe you have. If you care to share, you can share in the comments below. If it's too private, don't worry about it. So another thing you can do in this pose is called King Pigeon. And so we're upright like we are in the normal pose. And then King Pigeon is where you're practicing balance in this pose. So you can start by bringing your hands up, practicing it that way. Or if you want to bring your back leg up, sometimes you'll see these beautiful pictures of people have their back foot tucked into their arm and everything's perfect looking. So I'm not quite there yet, but I'm pretty happy with my King Pigeon. And then you can bring your arm up for balance, practicing that way. Or if you just want to practice your back leg first, leave your arm on the floor, it's fine. So there's that. And then to get out of the pose, you just kind of sit, or maybe your teacher will bring you back into downward facing dog. So now I'll show you reclining pigeon. Excuse me. So reclining pigeon is on our back. So knees are bent slightly, or you can just, there we go. And then you're going to bring one of your legs up and bent so that your ankle, your foot, or like your shin are resting on your thigh. Then bend that straight leg, that bottom leg, and begin to bring the knee towards you. And so as you can see, it's similar. So this would have been the leg on the ground that was getting stretched. But now we're using our other leg to stretch this leg. And it's a little bit more gentler because you're not putting all your body weight into your hips and thighs. So you have more control. So again, if you have issues with your hips or your knees, this is much better. So something you can do, you can use a strap, and you can wrap your strap around your shin and kind of pull in this way. Or you can just, if you can reach through your leg and grab onto either your thigh or your shin or your knee, and then just gently pulling your leg in towards your chest, feeling that deep stretch in your hips and your thighs here. And that is reclining pigeon. So those are the different variations and modifications of pigeon pose that I have for you. If you know of any others, I would love to hear about them. You can write them in the comments below, or you can always send me a direct message if you don't feel like commenting publicly. I would love to hear your input. Was this helpful for you? Do you know of any other modifications? Do you have any safety concern questions? Go ahead and reach out. And thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.